Torbjörn Magnusson, Group CEO of Samba Group. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience since you are a new face on Inderes TV?
Sure. I have a really long career in the insurance industry. I came to Sampo almost 2 decades ago. I've really enjoyed being part of the Sampo Group's management team. I like the people, like the values, the way we operate. I very much feel like a Nordic person. I've worked, obviously I live in Stockholm, but I spend several days a week in Finland. But I've also spent a lot of time in Denmark and Norway, so really a very Nordic person.
How Sampo is going to change under your leadership? Or is there anything to change in Sampo?
I think that the change in Sampo, the succession in Sampo was exceptionally well prepared. But of course, it is a continuous and gradual change. One person has left, all the others are there. Every recruitment and replacement we did in this succession was internal. So the world will change and the opportunities will be different, but we have some strong values that are still there. We believe in a strong balance sheet. We believe in being very active, getting a lot of information. And we also believe in taking quick decisions together in a small team. And that has not changed.
What were the highlights of the last quarter and the last financial year?
I think you always have to go and look at the operations to see what the earnings will be going forward. So you're always prepared for the future. And I think 2 really attractive and important things happened in Q4. For our biggest operation, the insurance operations in If P&C, the combined ratio, the underwriting, the core of the skills and knowledge of the company, that continued for yet another year with really, really strong results. But this time also combined with strong growth for good reasons. The company has low costs, low administrative costs. The company has really a really good digital offering to the modern customers out there. And we grew more than 5% in 1 year, and that is an exceptional number in our industry. So that's one. Really good performance from the insurance operations. And then, of course, this morning, we saw Nordea come out with no bad surprises, only a good step, a small step. It's just 1 quarter, but it's a first step towards the 2022 targets. And as a shareholder owner, I was certainly very pleased to see the way that management presented that.
Are you taking market share back in the insurance business in the Nordics?
Actually, we have lost a little bit of market share in some areas, but we have gained market shares in others. So it's now been some time that we have gained market share, for instance, in motor business in the Nordic, which is the biggest line. So the question is a bit back to front, I think.
Okay. Let's talk about Nordea. You already said that you had really pleasant financial statement today, and you've been the chairman of Nordea board for little less than a year. Yeah, basically. So how do you see how Nordea is progressing toward the financial targets 2022?
Well, I think Nordea's 2019 was an exceptional one. It was a big change. New management has gradually been presented. New targets were presented in November, I think, and the company has, as we already discussed, taken the first step towards those now with a better development of market shares in 2019 than in the year before, with high quality income growth at the end of the year, good control over costs, and actually better capital development than the consensus expectation. So strong quarter, and I'm also happy that we've been able to appoint a new management team that shows exceptional qualities and that I like very much.
There has been some speculation in the market and in the news that at some point Sampo could sell its Nordea stake. Do you see that when we look at Sampo in the future that we see Sampo Group without Nordea?
I think your timing is absolutely terrible. Asking that question today on the back of this first step towards the targets is, I'm joking, of course, but is not the right timing. We launched a change program together with a new management, and I'm really satisfied to see how hard they have worked and produced these results. I really stand behind or together with management. I have worked a lot with this, and that's where we are today, nowhere else.
So you're more than committed to Nordea.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Let's talk about your dividend. At least for me, it was maybe a bit unclear policy update to your dividend. Could you illuminate the policy a bit, and should we expect steadily growing dividends in the future, or what?
And can I be nasty and ask you why it was unclear? As I think it's an exceptionally clear policy and simple to understand. But yes, I'll try. Of course, management, as we discussed, is continuous change from before. In Sampo, we are committed to an attractive dividend. That is a belief with the management that hasn't changed. We now have a new policy proposed, 70%, above 70% of earnings. And as for any company, you have to increase earnings to be able to pay dividends. That's no different than anyone else. And that's the basis for this balanced new policy, which is an attractive dividend with the present share price would give 5 to 6% dividend yield, a really high dividend yield, attractive to our shareholders, and also balanced so that it prepares the company for the future.
And the last question, you mentioned in the report that stock buybacks could complement the dividends. So what's your take on stock buybacks?
That's always, or at least as I can remember, been a part of Sampo's toolbox, and we have used it very rarely, but it's something that we feel that we should have there.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.